Hey everyone, blessings and welcome. In this video, we're going to be discussing what to do when you don't get the apology. Before we get into our topic, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the like button because it really does help me out. Also share this video if you enjoy my content and this channel, and feel free to drop me a comment. I would love to hear from you, and as usual, I do appreciate your support of this channel. So yes, let's get into it. Let's talk about what I would like to call a form of injustice that is not spoken about as much as I think it should be. So yes, when we don't get the apology, when someone insults us, when someone offends us, when someone hurts us and causes us pain, especially when they know that they did it and they do not apologize for it, it is a form of injustice. And it is very hurtful, and it hurts a lot, and it's very painful. And in this video, I just want to discuss some of the reasons why certain people may not apologize to us, and also things that we can do when we don't get the apology, because it's a really painful thing, and definitely something I think we should talk about more. So, number one, the reason why some people might not apologize to you is because they think it's acceptable. Unfortunately, harmful and terrible behavior, some people think it's normal. There's some people out there who have grown up in dysfunctional households, and they just live in a dysfunctional way. And they don't realize that how they operate and move through the world is offensive, or they're moving in a manner or living in a manner that could be harmful to other people. So sometimes, and I'm not giving these folks a pass, but sometimes there are certain people out there, I just want you to know, who think that their behavior and their actions is acceptable. The way that they talk to you, the things that they do, and just their mannerisms or their lack of manners, they think is perfectly acceptable. Maybe they were raised by wolves. Maybe they didn't get a proper upbringing, or maybe they just think it's perfectly fine to behave in a certain manner. So sometimes we don't get the apology is because they think it's perfectly okay to talk to you in a certain way, that it's perfectly okay to treat you in a certain way, and that they don't have this, they're not getting the social cues that you don't behave a certain way in certain environments. There are people out there who are like that. So sometimes we don't get the apology because the person that we're dealing with thinks it's perfectly fine, and they don't see an issue with how they behave and how they treated you. They don't think that what they did offended you, or that it was offensive. So in some cases, that's the case. They think it's perfectly acceptable. So if that has happened to you, or if you're dealing with that type of person who has offended you in any way, insulted you, or caused you any type of pain, they didn't apologize, and they think their behavior is acceptable, that's why it's very important for us to set boundaries with people. And when they do things that are offensive, harmful, or anything that will cause us pain, we need to raise it immediately and let them know, hey, don't talk to me that way, or hey, this is not acceptable, or hey, yeah, I don't operate or live that way. And once you are clear with your boundaries with people, especially when their behavior is atypical or harmful, people who fall into that category, maybe if they try to do it again, maybe, a light would go off and they would be like, hey, okay, I shouldn't be talking to him or her that way. Or maybe that would be a way of getting them to kind of like course correct or think about what they're doing. Not that I'm giving them a pass, but there's certain people out there who think what they do and what they say is perfectly fine. And that's why we need to be on our square. That's why we need to be clear about our boundaries. And when people do cross them, and break them, we got to let them know that this is not acceptable behavior. So it's up to us oftentimes to let people know how to treat us, right? So that's number one. You may not have gotten the apology because the person thinks it's acceptable. Number two, They don't care. There's some narcissistic people out there. There's some people who are disordered personality wise or otherwise. There's some people who just lack empathy altogether, and they don't care how they treat others. They don't care about how their behavior impacts other people. They just don't care about others. There's some people who just have no empathy, who would just have apathy for everything, and it just, nothing bothers them. They don't have much of a conscience. So just know that there's a percentage of people, not a large percentage of people, but I do see this growing in the population, like this behavior of I can just treat people any old kind of way or talk to them a certain way. But just know that there are people out there who just don't care about your feelings, just don't care about how they treated you, just don't care about their actions and the consequences of their actions. So that might be one of the reasons why you didn't get the apology when you deserve the apology, especially, is that the person that you're dealing with just doesn't care. And there's people out there in the world who don't care about other people's feelings and don't care about what they do, and who are just completely reckless emotionally and spiritually. I call them emotionally and spiritually reckless people. So just know that that could be another reason why you didn't get the apology. The person don't care. Number 3, another reason why you may not have gotten the apology that you deserve is that they had pride. Some people have so much pride that they think that apologies are for the weak. They think that it might make them look weak and insecure or less than if they humble themselves and apologize for the wrong deed that they've done. And so some people just have so much pride, and they're just so swelled up on the inside, or they have just such a big head that they don't think that you deserve an apology. They don't think that they should lower themselves to apologize to you. And they think that it just makes them look weak, right? They think that apologies are for the weak, and, they want to appear strong. They want to appear like they know everything. They will not admit, these types of people, they're very stubborn. They won't admit when they are wrong, even when it's glaring and in bright lights where everyone can see that they've made this mistake. They will go on and they will gaslight you. They will go on and they will, turn the tables on you and make you the bad guy or the bad girl. So yeah, these people have a lot of pride. They think they're all of that, and they think that they're so great that they never have to apologize for the things that they do because they're perfect and they don't want to be seen as weak. And and that also kind of like could be coupled with the I don't care people as well, because there's an element within that person of not caring too. They don't care. It's more so like their feelings, how they feel and who they are. They feel like they are above others. So yeah, it's that pride. So sometimes we don't get the apology because the person that you're dealing with has a lot of pride, and they will not humble themselves to apologize to you or acknowledge what they have done. And they would rather live in the world of make-believe, and they would rather make things up and make the situation worse, or even sever the relationship, rather than humble themselves and admit that they were wrong. So that's the other category of people. And the last one that I want to talk about is that the sadistic person who intended on hurting you. So yes, you have some people out there who will not apologize because they wanted to see you in pain. They wanted you to hurt. They wanted you to feel bad about yourself. They wanted you to be offended. They wanted to call you out. They wanted to basically ruin the relationship in some twisted way. So yeah, there are people out there who do things to us intentionally that are harmful, and we won't get an apology because they meant it. They meant everything that they did, and they meant everything that they said. And it's unfortunate, but you do have some sadistic people out there who like to see us in pain, who like to see us tormented, who like to see us embarrassed or ashamed. And they'll do things and they'll say things to harm us and to insult us and to make us feel bad about ourselves, because they have every intention on making us feel pain and hurt, unfortunately. So unfortunately, there are some twisted and wicked people out there who make a sport out of harming us. So that's one reason why you might not have gotten the apologies, because they have intended on hurting you. So if you've been through any of those things or experienced any of those people and you haven't gotten the apologies from those types, first of all, I want to say I'm sorry. You know, it's tough when we go through these things in life, but it does happen, right? So there are three things I want to talk about on how to get over the offense and over the injustice, because like I said earlier in the video, it is a form of injustice. And what you want with the apology, and the reason why apologies are so important, because it brings forth justice, and basically it makes us feel better. And apologies, they help to bridge the gap when things in a relationship are broken and when harm and damage is done. So apologies can sort of like bring the peace in a situation and bring the peace and help you to reconcile with the person or even with the situation. But when there's no apology, then, you know, sometimes our relationships might not be able to recover. Right. So also, you know, apologies bring justice and a way forward for people. So apologies are very, very important, and it's necessary if we want, you know, healthy relationships. So and that brings me to my first point of getting over not getting the apology, is that the person that you're dealing with or the people that you're dealing with, you have to, number one, you have to reevaluate the relationship. So if you're dealing with people or a person who never apologizes for anything or seldom apologizes for things, you have to reevaluate that relationship and that person and where you want them in your life. For some of these people, you may have to end the relationship or downgrade the relationship or deal with them at arm's length or as little as possible. And so, yeah, you definitely have to reevaluate and figure out where you want this person to be, if not at all, in your life, right? Because if you're dealing with someone who never apologizes or who rarely apologizes, that's a recipe for disaster. You cannot have a healthy relationship with someone who doesn't apologize when they do wrong things. Right? We all make mistakes. We all have hurt someone, or whether intentionally or unintentionally, we've done it, right? But the thing that bridges the gap, like I said earlier, is the apology and really meaning it from the bottom of your heart. And when you know a person has meant the apology, is that they stop doing the things that is harming you, right? See, you get some people who will apologize and say, I'm sorry over and over again, but they keep doing the things that are hurtful and harmful, right? So part of a true and genuine apology is that, yes, you got it. You got a form of justice. And now you're seeing behaviors and patterns that match the sorry and match the change that you're hoping to see in a person and in the situation. So you definitely have to reevaluate your relationship and how to move forward, if you can move forward, because you cannot, I repeat, you cannot have a healthy relationship with a person who never apologizes. It is a disaster, right? And you're going to end up just getting hurt over and over again and not being able to heal, right? So it's a form of dysfunction, and it's also a form of abuse, right? So, you know, you got a person who is doing things to you over and over again. You know, you're feeling that injustice, you're feeling that harm, that offense over and over again, and they don't even acknowledge what they're doing to you. That's a form of abuse. So, number one, reevaluate the relationship if you're dealing with an unapologetic person. Number two, sometimes we just have to accept the fact that we're not going to get closure with the situation, right? So if when we're in a situation where we feel like we deserve an apology, something has happened. Something has happened to us, and something that has happened that has been negative or bad or has caused some type of harm. And sometimes you're never ever going to get the apology. Maybe the person who has hurt you in life, maybe they have passed away. Maybe they have moved far away, or you've gone no contact, or they've gone no contact with you and you don't see them anymore. And sometimes we just do not get closure with a situation or with a person who has harmed us in some way and who's never apologized. So we have to accept that sometimes, although we didn't deserve the treatment that we got, sometimes we're just not going to get the apology, and we're just going to have to learn how to overcome and get over it so we can move forward with our lives, right? So when you come to the acceptance of not getting closure about the situation, and some situations are quite traumatic. I know some of you have been through some stuff out there, but sometimes we're just not ever going to get the apology or ever get closure. So we have to bring closure to ourselves. And that leads me into my last point about how to deal with the non-apology, is that we have to focus on being whole people, being a whole person, and growing and healing on the inside, right? So the more whole you become as a person, when these things happen to us, when we don't get the apology, when we don't get the closure, we will be so content in ourselves and so strong spiritually when we're doing the work of being a whole person and improving as a human being. When we are dedicating ourselves to wholeness on a daily basis, and I talk about that a lot on this channel, what will begin to happen is that those things that used to offend us, and those things, whether it be little things or big things, they will begin to, I don't want to say roll off of your back, but not have the emotional and spiritual impact that it used to have, right? You will begin to feel more self-esteem, better about yourself, to the point where they didn't apologize. I never got it. I deserved an apology. I could just let it go. It's perfectly fine. I will survive, right? Sometimes things happen to us and we don't get the apology, and we're just so offended, and it just sort of like breaks us, right? It takes us down, and it's hard to figure out how we're going to recover. But when you are working on becoming a whole person and improving your spiritual life and growing as a human being, those things will not impact you the same way. Not to say that it doesn't hurt. Nobody wants to be in pain or be offended or be put down in any way or mistreated, right? No one deserves that, right? But when you're focused on being a whole human being and just growing as a person, these things won't hit you the same. I mean, these things, they will come, but they won't hit you the same. And you'll be able to recover, even if you don't get the apology. And if you get the apology, all the better. So yes, those are some of the things that you can do if you don't get the apology, and some of the reasons why you might not get the apology. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Take care. God bless. And I will see you in the next one.